Welcome to the space between. We all face adversity. It's part of the human experience. As the times we're living in shift, so do our ideas of adversity and difficulty. As the saying goes, we have made it through all our bad days. So why do we fear adversity so much? And what are the narratives we carry around the tough times in our life? D'Angelo Young is a filmmaker, author, and podcaster who is defying what it means to overcome adversity. From a small town in Georgia to the bright lights of New York City, D'Angelo doesn't allow adversity to keep him small. Instead, he uses it to fuel his creativity and purpose. It's time we reframe adversity. With great change and transformation comes difficulty. But as we know, that is where incredible opportunity lies. Join us as we connect through conversation. Welcome to the space between. My name is Alyson, and I'm very, very excited to have a new friend here today to talk about adversity, because that's not happening in 2024, is it?
No, of course not.
Why? No.
What is that?
Everything's fine.
Yeah, everything is fine.
D'Angelo Young, welcome to the space between.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah. And we met through the internet.
Yeah. Doesn't everybody nowadays? The internet.
Spoken like someone much younger than me.
Right.
But yeah, we're going to talk about adversity today, and we're going to learn more about you and your story and your path.
Right.
But full disclosure, you came up with the theme.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah. Adversity. Yep.
Okay.
As an artist, as a filmmaker, naturally, I deal with adversity. Being in New York City, only being here for about 4 years. So yeah, there's a lot I have dealt with being an artist on the climb. So yeah, I think that's a great theme. Yeah,
and I appreciate that, because that's actually one that I hadn't thought of. I had 100 plus, right? And there's so many themes, right? So I really appreciate that resonated with you, and I know this is a conversation that needs to be had. So thank you.
Yeah, you asked me what themes are prevalent in my life at this moment. So I guess everybody has their own theme and what they're going through. So personally, I think the adversity throughout the entirety of my life has been overcoming adversity. So yes.
Prevalent then.
Yeah, prevalent, yeah. Among other things, but adversity, is prevalent.
Yeah.
And
you said in this moment, and you mentioned 4 years, which I think is interesting, as you were thinking about what you wanted to come on and talk with us today. And the space between is everything that has been going on really since COVID. Right. Since everything changed in the world. Mm-hmm. You and I recorded a podcast, which we'll link below, about kind of more about me and ultimately about media and how much has changed, right? We're in a time of incredible transformation.
I agree. Yep. And I'm happy for this collaboration.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Thank you again for being here.
Yep.
So, ultimately, when I think of adversity,
right,
everyone has it. To which degree is what is different? Would you agree on that?
I agree. I guess adversity for some people is different. You know what I mean? For some people can make it through some people have gone through things that a lot of other people haven't gone through. So adversity is it varies.
Relative,
it's
right?
Very relative to the person.
Right. And you mentioned a few things. You mentioned that you are a filmmaker. Right. You're a director, author. You're a podcaster.
Yeah.
So, who is D'Angelo Young? I mean, obviously, those are your avatars too. You have your hands in a lot of pots right now, which is awesome.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I moved to New York City with about like $20 in my pocket. I came from a very small town. When I was in that town, I had a dream that I could be a filmmaker or an actor. So I moved here, in hopes of, achieving that. And I've done a lot of things so far. It hasn't been, the path that I thought it would.
What, it's not linear?
No.
Or exactly what you thought it was going to be?
No, it hasn't been. I haven't gotten here the way I thought I'd be, but I am here. I've written screenplays. I've written a book. I've done a TV series, and I'm actually will be producing my first movie next summer. And I've definitely dealt with a lot of adversity in order to get to this point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
absolutely. And you and I share that we both come from a small town.
Because
we couldn't be more different, but yet we still have so many things that are similar.
Exactly. And how do we make it here? You know, New York City.
Right.
From small town.
So you said you had a dream. Was it an actual dream, or was it more of just like, how did this New York City thing even
I don't know.
come
It
up
just
for you?
was an internal knowing that I wanted to work in entertainment. Like I never thought I would be in New York City.
Right.
Like I don't even know how I wound up. Like it's just like, after I graduated college, I got a job at ESPN for like a year.
Oh, cool.
And that was in like Connecticut.
Mm-hmm.
In Connecticut, it was like in Bristol. I was there for like a year.
Yeah.
I hated Bristol, the area. It was cold.
There's not much going on there.
Nothing going on there, but New York was close by, so I was like, you know what, I think I can make that leap. With me being out of the South for about a year. At that point, it was like, well, I've gotten used to being on my own, and you know, dealing with all these issues that come with being away from family for a long time. So that's when I got the nerve to be like, you know what, I'll just, you know what, let me try moving to New York City and see if I can make it there. You know,
because if you can make it here,
you can make it anywhere, right?
And it's damn true.
It's true, yeah.
People say that, but until you actually live here and understand the hustle, it's not easy.
Exactly. Like when I go to other cities, I realize how much different New York is from every other city.
People say it's the greatest city in the world.
Yeah, depending on who you ask.
That's very true.
Yeah.
100%. So you decided to take a leap of faith.
Yeah.
And come to New York with $20 in your pocket. You're not the only one that's done that, right?
Exactly.
It's a more common story than people would think. And it's a very difficult thing to do, right? And would you say that your path that led you to that decision had been marked with enough things that you had overcome that you were just like, fuck it, I'm gonna go?
Yeah. Well, like I came from a small town, and you know, like low income family, so I really had nothing to lose the way I saw it. You know what I mean? I come from a small town, so when I told people that, like, you know, I wanted to be an actor, it was kind of foreign, because like, who says that, you know? Because I didn't even know any actors, I didn't know any filmmakers, I didn't even know anybody that was in the entertainment business. So it was kind of foreign to even think that you could achieve something like being a director or actor, you know. So that was kind of the thing that I had to overcome. Was just like believing that I could be something that was like out of the ordinary. And that came to me later in life, because like once I moved outside of my small town, that's when I realized that there is a possibility that I could do this, right?
There's all these other things that exist that you didn't even realize existed.
There's other people that that act and stuff like that. And like when I went to college, I met this guy who was doing a web series, and I had never thought about that, because coming from a small town, I didn't even think that you could just shoot a web series or something like that. So I met this guy when I was in college, and we started. I started writing for his show. He was like, "Oh, you're pretty good. Can you keep writing for my web series?" And we kind of had started a little group in college. So I started filming there, and that's when I realized that, oh, okay, I'm actually pretty good at it. Like I would never known that if I hadn't moved outside of my small town.
Right.
Started exploring and meeting other people who were actors and artists and things like that. So that's where it came from.
And out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, out of my comfort zone.
Because when you come from a small town, your view is limited.
Very limited. It's very limited. If someone tells you that you can't do something, you might believe it because you don't know any better.
Right.
Right? Because you haven't seen otherwise.
Right.
You know what I mean? So.
And I think it's different now, right? I mean, you and I are not 20. We're not 15.
Right.
I think kids today, they have access to everything.
Exactly.
And it's different.
I'm so jealous of these kids, right?
Yeah.
They have access.
There's good and bad, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's the access that they have. I mean, maybe they don't have an understanding of it, but they can access and see that it exists. So it'll be interesting to see what happens to that generation.
Exactly. Like there's nothing that you can't figure out on the internet.
Right.
Like you can figure out how to do anything on the internet, right? There's
absolutely
practically nothing you can't Google and figure out how to do and how to move here and how to fix this, how to fix that.
Right.
So
and your path organically, I mean, obviously it's your journey, right? It's, in my opinion, predestined, but you kind of moved through these different experiences, met people, and here you are. And you're doing it.
Right, doing it.
Which is amazing.
Right.
So talk to me a little bit about the journey of even leaving the small town, because that had to come with its challenges and adversity.
Yeah. When I left after I graduated college. So like I said, I got a job at like ESPN, and it was like for a year in Connecticut. I thought maybe I'd do this for a year and I just go back to to Georgia or something like that, maybe, because I didn't know if I could make it way on the other part of the country.
Right.
But once I left, I was like, yo, this is free. This is amazing to see other things that I never thought I'd see, and to go places I never thought I'd go. So that's kind of like the journey. And it fueled me to keep going, because I didn't want to go back and have people say, "Oh, see, I knew he wouldn't make it. I knew he could. I told you he couldn't do it." You know what I mean? And that kind of
totally
fuels
get
me
that.
To keep going. I'm like,
because no shade. A lot of people tried and failed, and a lot of people never even tried. Which, if that's their path, great. But that's not what you wanted.
Yeah.
Me neither.
I always just wanted to be the reason someone says, you know what, I can do it too. Like he didn't give up.
You got out.
Yeah. Like there's a lot of different people and celebrities and things like that who I admire and look up to, and I look at like how they overcame these things, adversity or being homeless or whatever like that, and I aspire to that, and I say, okay, if that person can do it, then I can do it. Like so I want to be that person. I just want to be that person that gives someone a reason to chase their dream but never give up, or to believe in themselves in a way. You know what I mean?
That's so beautiful, and in such service. And I know you'll continue to do that as you get even bigger in your path.
Yeah. Like there's this quote that I really love there's a Roman playwright named Terrence. I don't know if heard of him. Mm-mm. He was like a slave, and like he overcame being a slave by writing, and he became a poet and a playwright. And one of the things that he said was, I am human, nothing human is alien to me, which basically means that there's nothing new a human being can go through that hasn't already been, you know what I mean, going through. Like if somebody else has overcame something, then you can too. So that's
a great quote.
Yeah.
Is that something you come back to when you're having tough times?
Yeah, exactly.
That's beautiful.
So yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a couple different definitions of adversity. The very standard one is a difficult or unpleasant situation, which seems kind of lame. But the new definition is a state of insistence of serious or continued difficulty or misfortune.
Yeah.
So what's your definition of uncertainty? What resonates for you when you think of, I'm sorry, not uncertainty, my bad, adversity?
What resonates with me with being going through adversity is, I guess, going through things that you never thought you would have to go through. Right. Because we envision our lives, we think, oh, I'll just grow up and I'll have a family and things like that.
We were told a lie.
It was like that. Yeah. But like it's just like blow after blow after blow of things happen that you never thought would happen.
Yeah.
And it's a constant like readjusting of what you thought life is and what you thought life would be. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I thought I would be rich by this age. I thought I would be this. Right. But finding a way to navigate those things and still come back to what you want it to be anyways. Like I feel like I feel like most people who dream, they'll wind up where they want to be, but it's not the route you thought you'd go. Right. So I think that is adversity within itself. Like seeing a roadblock and being like, okay, how can I get around that roadblock? Then another one comes.
How can I navigate this?
And then soon enough, you where you thought you would be if you kind of stop and think about it. It's like, whoa, I'm here, I'm doing it. Right, I guess it wasn't the way I thought I'd be, but I'm here. So I think that's what adversity is, just like bobbing and weaving through life.
I love that. By the way, that's a way better definition than anything I found on the internet.
Yeah, because you don't see tragedy or adversity coming. Right?
No.
Right, it just happens.
Right. And sometimes people have stories, and I've known people personally that are just like, you're like, oh my God, the hits keep coming for them. Right. Some people just have stretches of their life that is
just blow after blow.
Incredibly difficult.
Yeah.
I've had my fair share of shit, but there's some people in my life where I'm like, my God. And I think for me, when I think of adversity, my sort of view and perspective on adversity has changed so much over the last 2 years. I went through a really difficult period in my life, and I love the way you look at it, because we expect either neutral or good.
Right. I
don't know where that came from. It's just what we were taught. It's what everybody talks about, right? We're going to seek comfort. We're going to seek things are going to be okay. We're going to try to remain neutral. And that is not living.
No, that's not living. That's not.
And it's never going to happen like that. And adversity, I think adversity is what allows us to grow and actually chase the dreams that we want. So what would you say to that point?
To what point?
To the point of only through adversity do you get to your dreams.
Yeah, I agree that only through adversity, that's how we learn and that's how we grow, through adversity. So even though it's, it sucks when we go through things, but that's how.
So hard.
But pressure makes diamonds, right? So,
I've put a vision of a diamond in my head, and I think about it all the time.
Pressure makes diamonds.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah, going through that adversity is, like you said, is life school.
It is. Right? Yes, we talked about Earth School, Life School on your podcast. You liked that. That resonated.
That's how we learn, and that's how we grow. Yeah. And as human beings, we pass down information, right? So what we do and how we overcome our adversities is how people, 5, 10, 15 years will look at us and look at human beings as a whole.
Absolutely.
Right?
100%. So you are an artist,
right? In
many ways. You're an author. You're a creator,
right?
That's what I would if I gave you a name, I would call you a creator.
Right.
I have recently stepped into my creative side. We all have it. Mine was lied dormant on purpose for many years. I'm a little bit older than you. Wink, wink. So it's been really interesting stepping into this creative side. How would you say your art and your creativity has brought adversity to your life? Oh man, it's being an artist, man. It's a blessing and a curse. It's a blessing and a curse because sometimes I get jealous of people who are like doctors and lawyers, and they just go to school and just have these to work.
Have these nice cushiony jobs, but I'm an artist, man, and I have to like gut it out and grind and get people to believe in my work and get rejected and over and over again and hope that one day that people will see my work. And I see like doctors or lawyers or something like that who just go to school, go to work, and things their life is just straightforward. But being an artist, your life is not straightforward.
No.
It's very unpredictable. But at the same time, it's a beautiful life, because being able to express yourself in ways that you can't really do outside of being an artist, right? Even though like people have these things like maybe you're a doctor or a lawyer, but like you're not leaving anything behind like artists are. Artists hundreds of years from now would be honored like Van Gogh, right? He is pretty broke when he was alive, right? But like
Sadly, most of them are, which is ridiculous. Let's not even go there.
Yeah.
Hopefully that'll change.
But people still, after his death, they honor his life and his work, and they realize how beautiful what he did was. And even though, like, for the most part, his life was nagged by like controversy and
his life was very difficult.
Yeah,
he
very
had
difficult.
Horrible mental illnesses. And just really kind of a tortured. At least from what
the tortured artist that's basically kind of like the theme of being an artist. And but being an artist is beautiful because you get to express yourself and you get to create work that inspires other people who aren't artists. They are inspired by art.
Right.
So I think
it's in service.
It's in service.
Because there's nothing more difficult in my perspective than putting your heart and soul into something and allowing the public
to judge
the shit out of it.
Pick it apart. Yep.
And are we not judge and jury by nature? I have to work every day to not judge, right? Because who the hell am I to judge anything that you feel passionate and strongly enough about? There's adversity in just coming on this podcast, and you have a podcast too. That's not easy.
Exactly. It's just like I remember my first book I wrote, like excited about it, like, oh man, my people are gonna love it, and like some people in my family haven't even read it. Like it's just like that's the life of
You're like, thanks.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah.
And that's the thing too with expectations, right? I think a lot of our expectations are what keeps us from thinking that adversity is going to happen. Because again, we don't expect things to go wrong.
Right.
So as far as your filmmaking, that has to be one of the toughest things to break into.
Yeah, it's very tough. Especially, I would say, being an independent filmmaker is
right. Even harder. Independent anything is more difficult.
Exactly, because being an independent filmmaker is you're not allowed to make a lot of mistakes, right? So if you have, because you have limited resources and you know what I mean, limited money most of the time.
No one's backing you.
Right.
No one's telling you what to do, but no one's backing you.
At the same time.
Right.
At the same time, it's you don't have any. You can't make a lot of mistakes, right? Because if you have, if you come up with like $20,000, $30,000, I mean that's it, right? You can't be like, hey, Dad, can you send me another? Hey, Mom, I need another 10 grand.
Right.
Oh, let's just reshoot this. Let's just reshoot that. Oh, you know what I mean? So you have to be cerebral in every approach because you don't have a lot of time. You don't have a lot of resources. So I think that in essence, independent filmmakers are probably the best filmmakers in the world.
Yeah.
Because it's easy to make a movie if you have 8 months and $10 million to make a movie.
And
anybody can do that.
Anything that
and
you
access
need.
To anything.
Yeah.
It's easy to do that. If you can just say, hey, let's shoot it tomorrow or whatever. Oh, let's just come back and shoot it like 10 more times and whatever. So I think that being an independent filmmaker, I think we are the best filmmakers in the world because we have limited time, limited resources, and like we can't make a lot of mistakes.
Right.
Because also we are judged even harshly because we have like only a little bit of money. You know
right.
What I mean? So yeah.
Right. And I guess another question on the filmmaker aspect is, and this is just something I would think, but you'll tell me if it's true or not true. It's probably really difficult to be seen.
Yeah. As an independent filmmaker, yeah.
Yes. In general, whether it's
I think on a global
to get more money or to make another film or to find people to come and be in your whatever it is that you do, if you're doing it independently, that has to be just more difficult and faced with more adversity.
Especially one of the biggest adversities I had to overcome with coming to New York City is I had to work twice as hard as everybody else because I didn't know anybody.
Right. You didn't have any connections.
I didn't have any connections. So I had to work twice as hard to meet people, to make connections, to find locations, to find the money, because I had no idea, about anything living in New York City. Plus the city is so big, you know what I mean? Finding these locations and these people and these equipment and putting it all together.
Right, permits or timeline or
all of these things.
All of it, yeah.
So I felt like I had to work twice as hard harder than people who are already here making films.
Right.
You know,
You were the outsider.
Right. They knew people. Yeah. They had connections. They had all these things. But me coming here not knowing a soul, I didn't know anybody. I didn't have family, friends, nothing. I just came here and just had to work twice as hard to meet people and connect and put all the pieces together. So I think that was another adversity with being an independent filmmaker.
Right.
Also being from a small town, not having any connections and things like that.
Mm-hmm. And then you arrived here. That's the other question that I had. I sometimes in my private thoughts sit and think like, what the hell am I doing here?
Yeah.
What in the hell am I doing here? There's been a lot of, for lack of a better word, imposter syndrome about living in New York. This was my dream.
Yeah.
To live in the city since I was a kid. I was 5 and I remember coming here. It's one of my earliest memories and just putting my feet on the pavement and being like, I'm going to live here.
Yep.
And it took me until I was 30 because I was too chicken shit to do it. And there's been not a month that goes by that I don't think about like, why am I here?
Yeah.
It's so weird. So talk to me about arriving here, not knowing anybody. I mean, what was that like?
It was terrifying, to be honest, because I came here with I had enough money to get an apartment for like a month or two,
right? And
I had to just hit the payment to survive, work odd jobs to make it. At the same time, having to figure out the subway system and all these
There's
people.
A 6-month hazing minimum.
Because you might get on the right train going in the wrong direction. It's like, well, I thought I was on the right train, but
the train on the weekend is
train on
rerouted.
Slow. You may get on the R train.
You get up, you have no idea what direction you're. I mean, it's wild.
You're gonna get on one train, but in the middle of the ride, it switches to another route, so you have to find. Yeah, it was
Goes Express, 34th Street.
Right. You in a hurry, and like trains are going like local, and it's like wow. That was it was very difficult, especially being like, just coming here, because New York City is different from any city like in the world.
For sure.
I feel like from like you can really adjust if you go from like, I don't know, let's say Atlanta to like Washington D.C. You can kind of adjust, like, but like going from
it's similar.
It's similar, but like New York City is. It's like a different country within itself. It's that different from anywhere else in the country, right? So it was very difficult, especially being from a town from like 5,000 people.
Right. What does your family think about you being here?
A lot of them didn't think I would make it. Like there was a lot of people contact me and was like, "Oh, I'm proud of you. I didn't think you would be there that long." I'm like, "Yeah," and a lot of them reach out to me. They want to come, they want to visit, and I know a lot of them. Like they kind of pay attention to what I'm doing because it's very unique to have someone to.
You broke out. I mean, nobody had done that in your family before.
Yeah, I know. But so that's why I work hard. I don't want to let them down. So that's kind of. I think that most of them they're very encouraging for the most part. A lot of them not so much. Some of them not so much, but a lot of them are very encouraging.
Right. That's how it is with anything, right? You're going to get some people that support you and some people that don't.
Some people that don't.
Right. And now you're 4 years in.
Yep.
You're making films. You've written books.
Mm-hmm.
You've overcome so much.
A lot.
And looking back on it, how does it make you feel when you think about all the adversity you had to go through?
It was, I feel like there's not much I could go through that I haven't already been through. Like I lost everything twice, and bounced back. I've been homeless once, after like putting all my money into a project. So I feel very motivated because I've been to the bottom of the bottom. So you know what I mean. So I feel very encouraged that I can still. There's nothing I can't overcome.
So when you're in those moments, and thank you for sharing that. I didn't know that. And I appreciate being so open.
Mm-hmm.
That's really amazing. How did you find your way out? Because some people don't, and many people don't, but you did.
Yeah. Just that dream, man. I don't know. Like even though you're down.
You never lost sight.
Never lost sight. Like I don't know why. I just have this idea that I could be like one of the greatest filmmakers that ever lived. Whether or not that comes true, that's yet to be seen. But I don't know why I still have this dream that I can be a great filmmaker.
Yeah.
Even though at times it didn't look like it.
Yeah.
And I want to give up. Like I still have this idea, this dream that pushes me.
Right. That you haven't let go of.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Because I think so many people that are listening to this can resonate with that.
Yeah.
Because there's so many headwinds that are happening right now. Things are changing so quickly. People are very foggy and clouded and scared.
Exactly.
And then shit happens, and I see it in people I know and stories I hear. Like, it doesn't take much to break someone right now because our foundation is very cracked, right?
Exactly.
And then you have more and more things. But something I feel from you in this moment, and I want to share this with you, is this unbelievable will.
Yeah.
Like, you're like, no, I'm just gonna keep moving forward.
Yeah. Like, I feel like everybody who has a dream, like they have that fire, you know what I mean? Like, they don't know why it burns, it just burns like that. Like, if I could just overcome this, like if I could just, start that business, if I could just make that one film, if I could just do that, and that kind of drives us, or anybody that wants to do something. So I just feel like if I could just like make that one movie, make that one hit, like it's
all it takes is one.
Yeah.
And it's true.
Yep.
It's not bullshit. All it takes is one. And unexpected happens all the time.
Yeah, like it's like that meme. I remember that. It's like that meme where the guy is like digging for gold. Like he keeps digging and he gives up, and like it's like the gold is like
it's
right there.
Like, yeah, I've seen
it. I always think about that. Like, what if I like just stop and I'm like so close?
I love that you brought that up.
Yep.
Because that's something that I wrote about as far as the narratives, right? It's like, oh, things are so hard and I'm not going to be able to do what I need to do. But at the same time, look at what you've already done.
Right.
Look at everything you've been through, and you've been through, the listeners, to arrive at this moment. And we're so quick to just think about the next thing. And it sounds like, and something I've learned about you as I've gotten to know you, is that you have this very balanced perspective. You're like, okay, there's more, but at the same time, you're like, I did it.
Yeah.
We don't celebrate
the small victories, yeah.
Yeah, and life is just a series of small moments. Good, bad, ugly, amazing, indifferent, whatever. That's life.
Yep. Exactly. Like I said that. I mentioned that on one of my podcasts.
You did?
Celebrating the small victories, right?
Yeah.
So is there any like small victory you have?
Yes, absolutely. I think the small victories are, I just did something I didn't want to do today, right? I checked something off my list that like I really didn't want to do today.
Right.
Or there's days when I couldn't get out of bed. After what I went through the last couple of years, there's so many days that I had to have my brother, my friends, my husband just like coax me, and just sometimes just waking up is a victory in itself, and putting your feet on the ground. And I think a smile, you give a smile to a stranger, that's a victory.
Yeah, especially in New York, that is a victory.
I do. Yeah. I do that more than I probably should, because many times people are like, what? What the fuck are you looking at? Right. But many times people aren't. New York is not terrible.
Yeah. I'm getting used to that because, like, coming from a small town, everybody knows everybody. So everybody, some people just wave. They don't even know you. They just wave.
It's so funny because inevitably I'll get in an Uber or I'll get in a taxi and they'll be like, oh, you're not from here, are you? Because I'm like, hi. Yeah, I just refuse to be beaten down. I've been here 14 years and I just refuse to be beaten down by the city. I'm going to be me. And everyone's like, you're not from here. I'm like, no, I'm freaking from here. I have been, and I made it through COVID, and like I am from here, right?
Yeah.
I'm not originally from here, but most people aren't. So, but I think it's just the little things. Like we just see life as boring unless something really amazing happens or something really shitty happens. But life is the in between, the space between.
Yeah,
that's life, right?
Yeah, in the era of social media, I feel like we always wanted to do something big for everybody else. Like, because
that's all people are talking about. I'm on vacation. I just closed this deal. I just started this business. well, what'd you do for the other 22 hours today?
Exactly.
Not jack shit.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to talk about that.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not interesting.
Exactly.
But I mean, the thing I love about your podcast is that everyone does have a story to tell.
Exactly.
And everyone does have adversity.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like one of the things that it was starting my podcast is something that I learned is that everybody has a story and everybody wants to be heard. You know what I mean? Because it's not like how often, like even your audience can think about how often do people ask you, what is your story?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like a lot of people don't get asked that.
Right.
What is your story? Tell me about your life.
Right.
How'd you overcome those things? And people are dying to tell the story.
Everyone has a story.
Everybody wants to tell their story, you know. So that's kind of the reason why I started the podcast, you know. And it's me being a writer and a storyteller,
it's perfect for you.
I turned it into like kind of a kind of story component.
Yeah.
And yeah,
I enjoyed it. I have to say, I had not been in the hot seat because I haven't been, and I'm scheduling more podcasts because I need to get out there and reciprocate, right, for all the amazing people that have come on my podcast and get my voice out, my name out. Mm-hmm. And I appreciate the opportunity. But there was some adversity, even just like shooting that with you,
right,
for me, because I had never done it before.
Mm-hmm.
And your questions were so good, and I was like, damn, that's a good question.
How did that feel? I feel like as a podcaster, you could become better at understanding human behavior.
Oh, for sure.
Becoming a podcaster, like being able to sit back and watch how people respond to you, or how you say things. It's kind of like, you become a better speaker, a better communicator is what I mean.
A better listener,
better communicator. So this journey it's been a fun journey, a learning journey. I never thought I'd start a podcast.
Right.
I'm so I'm cool, so cool, and and that's why I kind of started a podcast. And like I want to mention like what I talked about the Ronald Reagan speech.
Yes.
Like in 1998 when he was basically saying that people call me the great communicator, but I tell them I'm not a great communicator. I just communicate great things.
Yeah.
Right. So and that kind of motivated me. Like I'm like, oh okay, I'm not a extraordinary speaker, but I have great things that I want to communicate, and I have things and stories that I want to tell. So yeah.
And life is just a story.
Yeah.
And I love with your director and filmmaker, because something that's really resonated with me in the last, 12 months or so, last year, is that we are all directing our own movie.
Exactly.
All of it, right? The adversity, the highs, the lows, everything in between.
Yeah, everybody has
for
that.
Us.
Everybody has that trailer of their life in their head. Like they want to, like from where they started to where they want to be, towards later in life. And you have that. You are the star of that movie. You are the Rocky Balboa, the conqueror, the overcomer. Everybody is that person in their heads. Everybody has that is a star of their own movie or their show. So I agree with that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And when you think about your life as a movie, right?
Yeah.
The way I think about my life is, and if I could say like, oh, this has kind of, been my theme until now, is that I am able to connect with people. That is something. And I think that there's nothing that connects us more than our adversity and our struggles. Mm-hmm. Because we're so polarized.
Exactly.
You and I don't believe the same thing about everything. We don't look the same. We don't come from the same places. But the minute we sat down in front of the microphone, it was like, wow, I felt like I had known you for a long time. And I'm into the past life thing. So I'm sure you and I had a past life together. Mm-hmm. But here we are, right? Talking about our struggles and talking about our pain. For those out there, if you feel disconnected from people, all you have to do is start talking about your experience.
Yeah, because that is the one thing that connects us as human beings.
Is your story.
And adversity too. Cause everybody that has ever lived, everybody that isn't alive now that will live, will have to go through adversity. Yeah. And that connects us, which is like I studied existentialism. You know what existentialism is?
Sort of.
It's basically
explain it a little bit more.
Basically
it's a philosophy.
It's a philosophical term that kind of focus on like the the essence of being human, like outside of religion.
Right.
Just like
the human experience.
The human experience, like outside of religion.
Right.
So I study like a lot of existentialism. I try to put that in my writing. I wrote a book called Kiss from a Rose. Oh. And like the story is basically about a guy who was a violent boxer, but at the same time a sensitive poet, which kind of lets us know that everybody has a light and a dark side, and that's just the nature of being a human being. You are
a third dimensional construct. You can't have heat without cold. Yeah, you're not all hate.
Good.
Yeah, everyone has shadow.
No one is all good or all bad. Yeah. You are just complex, creatures.
Exactly.
Right.
And I think one of the things that I want the listeners to take away from my perspective with adversity is that when you do this, right, when you look back on your life and you look back on all the things that you've overcome, and there's so many, do they ever feel as big in the rearview mirror as they do in the moment?
Right.
No. And that's a testament to you're in the present moment, the belief that you have in yourself, that you can, you were even doing this with your hand, right? It's never linear. Yep. Can you pivot? Can you make a different decision? Can you let go? Whatever it is that you need to do in order to move through what you're going through, you have within you.
Yeah.
You're sitting here. I'm sitting here.
Exactly.
Anyone that's out there is sitting there in their own movie.
Yeah. I guess that's one of the beautiful things about getting older is because like when you're young, you feel like every problem is the end of the world. But the older you get, the more you realize, oh, I've been through it. I've been through this time and time again.
This has just a different flavor. This is the same ice cream, just chocolate this time, and as opposed to peanut butter.
Exactly. So yeah. So yeah, it's just about learning and growing. So yeah.
And I love for a moment, I want to come back to the diamond reference. We have been, as human beings, just conditioned to believe that things are supposed to be easy.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is really pissing me off lately because I had such a huge awakening over the last couple of years where I was like, God, my whole view of what this whole thing is wrong.
Right.
This is not why we're here. We're not here to chill. That is not the program. We are here to learn and we are here to grow. And that's why I keep the diamond in my head. It's helpful to have a reference. My husband has, what's the tallest mountain range in the world?
Mountain range?
Yeah, it's like the tallest mountains. I can't think of it.
Mount Everest?
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I'm not sure.
But he's got it on his phone, right? On his lock screen. And it's the very, very, very top of the mountain where the caps are, where it's freezing, where it's windy, right? Where the conditions are so tough. That goes back to your meme of the person like breaking through the wall, right? They're trying to get to the gold and they're 2 hits away and they just walk back.
Yep.
You are an amazing testament to not giving up, right? What is your true why?
True why?
In life.
Well, like I mentioned.
What keeps you going?
I mentioned before, I just wanted to be someone's story or reason why they never gave up.
So that's your why.
Right.
You want to be an inspiration and you want to be a model to others.
Yeah. Also, I just want to be the one of the best. I want to be great at my craft. Yeah. I want to be great at my craft. So, and that's every artist's goal is to be the greatest at what they do. Whether you're a writer or a hairstylist or I don't know,
podcaster,
a podcaster, a business owner. Yeah. You just want to be the greatest at what you do, and I just want to be the greatest at what I do. I want to reach the peak of being an artist.
You want to get to the top of the mountain.
Yeah. Whatever. So for some people, greatness is different, right?
Right.
I just wanted to be the greatest at what I do and contribute to the art as a whole.
Yeah.
So someone coming behind me could say, "Oh, I love the way he did that thing.
He did it. I
He
can
did
do
it.
it.
Yeah, I could do it. And he was the greatest at what he did. Maybe not the greatest of all time, but at least people can look back and say, "Oh, I appreciate what he did, the sacrifices that he made,
Yeah. And what he put out into the world,
and the work that he did,
Yeah.
And he believed in himself, and like I want to do that just like him. So that's kind of one thing that motivates me to keep going, because the quitters are never remembered.
Yeah. And the quitters don't ever get to where, I mean, the easiest way to not get what you want is to stop doing it.
Stop doing it, right?
Right.
Like even if you don't become the greatest at what you do, but if you just run your race, you'll get your ribbon per se. Mm-hmm. Like I remember like a couple of years ago, like I was walking past these people who had done the marathon.
Oh yeah,
right?
Which is a super fun time in New York City.
Yeah, everybody does the marathon, and one thing that I noticed is no one ever asks, "What place did you come in?" No one ever says,
unless you win, nobody cares.
Right. Like all these people, like around the city,
yeah.
like there's people who run the marathon. They have like the outfit on, and everywhere, the only thing that people say is, "Good job, man!
That's
Congratulations!
amazing! Congratulations!
You did it."
Yeah.
They don't know if this person came in last. They don't know
It's the fact that they did it.
It's the fact that he ran his race. He finished what he was doing. And I found that so fascinating because nobody ever asked a marathon runner, "What place did you come in?
Yeah.
How did you do? Who did you beat?"
Yeah.
Like it's everybody who finishes their race, and they complete their journey. People say, "Congratulations, man! You ran your race. You did your thing. Good job." Nobody cares like if you were 1,000th place. It was just
nobody cares.
You ran your race. You had a goal. You completed it, and you did it. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Right, so
that's so true.
Right, so that's kind of one thing that kind of stands out to me.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful.
It's to just run my race.
Your why is beautiful.
Yeah.
Just keep running your race.
Your race.
Do it for something outside of yourself. Like that's what I've found. I didn't know my why until recently, and my why is to help people connect back to themselves. If there's a way that we can be less disconnected, whether that's from ourselves or with other people, I want to have an impact on that.
That's true.
Right? Whether that's my consulting business or whether that's my mortgage business and I also want people to be treated in a different way. I think that people deserve respect. They deserve compassion. They deserve love. And I will be, as much as I can possibly do, right? I fall and I'm not perfect, but I want to be that, like you said, right? I want to be that person that people are like, "Oh, wow, look what she did."
Right.
Kindness, pass it on, right? That's the best way to do it, is just to be what you want to see. I want to be the change that I see in the world because I want this world to transform and change. This is not working, and I think if anything, the highs are going to be even higher and the lows are going to be even lower, right? Exactly. And we've seen that over the last couple of years. So the adversity ticks up, but if you just focus on all the shit that's been wrong in your life, that's going to be your experience.
Yeah, you're going to always find something wrong.
Yeah.
In life, yep.
Because you're going to manifest. And, the whole manifestation on the spiritual front, it's like, it gets a little crazy, but it's just like anything. Perfect example, right? You see this red car and you're like, "Oh, I'm going to buy this car." And then you see the car because your brain is already tracked.
Exactly.
That's the same thing with our tougher times.
There's a study that says our brain seeks to confirm our beliefs.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. I've seen that study.
Right.
It's true.
If you say that, "Oh man, like my life is terrible," like your brain will like find little things,
yes,
to confirm your belief that your life is terrible, or even things down to politics. Like if you believe that, "Oh man, I'm a Republican, and Republicans are, the smartest people," like your brain will seek out things that happen.
And then you have social media and the algorithm that just continues to pump that whatever, because the algorithm just wants to keep you there.
Your brain seeks to confirm your
internally
beliefs.
And externally, right? That's a good point.
Yeah, like whatever you tell yourself, your brain will like seek out these things to confirm our beliefs.
Yep.
That's why sometimes people fall into cults and things like that.
Right.
Because your brain will seek out things to confirm their beliefs.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Sometimes you wonder, like, why would those people follow? Why would they believe that guy who, like, you know what I mean? But like sometimes
Happens
that's just the nature.
all the time.
And that's just the nature of being human.
Right.
You know?
That's just the brain
Yep.
and how it works. Well, our time is almost up. Like it goes so fast. I know. That's okay.
Wow.
We'll do this
I really
again.
enjoyed it. Yep.
I know. I appreciate you so much. So I think I'll have one last question. How has your feelings or thoughts or relationship with adversity changed over the last 4 years?
The last 4 years.
Really, since you moved to New York, right? 2019 was when you arrived here, which is crazy.
Yeah, I think I have a high tolerance for adversity now. Like when I was younger, I used to go through things and I just to think it was the end of the world. I flunked the test, my life is over, things like that. But moving to New York City and going through COVID and overcoming being homeless, things like that, I welcome adversity because it makes me better. It makes me better. Yeah. So I don't shy away from like adversity. I welcome the challenges because that's how you become great. Like I said, like next summer I'll be producing my first movie, so I welcome that challenge of being the first person in my family to create a movie or writing, direct, and produce a movie. So I welcome challenges now because that is the thing that people remember.
I totally agree with that.
Yep.
And I think at your age too, watch out. If you're just taking it all on, I mean, this is recent for me, right? Too, over the last couple of years where I'm just like, bring it on. Bring it on.
Yeah, right. Like people run away from, I don't want to move to that city. I'm afraid. I don't want to do that thing. I don't want to start that business. But now I seek out challenges.
Yeah,
and
do
I
it.
I welcome adversity.
Yeah. If what's the worst thing that can happen? You fail?
Yeah, you
move on.
Fail. Yep.
We've all failed.
Mm-hmm.
You can't be successful unless you failed a bunch of times.
Yeah, exactly.
It's part of the deal. It's the way that it works.
Yep.
So where can people find you? Online? Like how can people connect with you?
Well, you can check out my podcast on YouTube. I got a story to tell. Also on Instagram, I am directed by D'Angelo. You can check me out there. My website is d'angeloyoung.com. I have my own website. And you can also, I wrote a book. So go read my book. I don't know.
I love it.
Kiss on my Rose. Go read my book. It's an incredible story. It has a lot of poetry in it. It's about a guy who's a boxer and also a sensitive poet. So and it's just a great book. So read my book. Check it out. It's on Amazon. And I have a series online. It's Concrete Jungle. I've done a TV pilot. So I've done a lot of things. So please reach out, look at some of my work, and
it's amazing.
Yep.
Thank you for being here.
Oh, I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
I appreciate you so much.
Yeah.
You're just the best.
Yep. And I wish you luck with your podcast, and business, and all these different things you have going for you and your husband and whatever like that.
Thank you so much.
So good luck with everything. I'll be rooting for you. And
same.
You have a friend in me. So.
Oh, same. Yep. My heart. Thank you. And thank you to everyone that joined us today.
Yeah, thank you so much.
We appreciate you joining us in the space between, and we look forward to seeing you very soon for another episode. Thank you so much for joining us in the space between. We hope this conversation sparked connection for you. Please like, subscribe, and share this episode with someone who will find value. And make sure to tune into our next episode as we continue the journey into the core themes of our lives. We'll see you again in the space between.